today as the session opens. We pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for the direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. We could all pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilor Elliott.
Here.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Here.
Councilor Lenzi.
Here.
Councilor Martin. Councilor Armin Mercia. Here. Councilor Rita Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milanazzo. Councilor Broderick.
Here.
Mayor Caulfield.
Here.
7 present.
Before we open up the meeting and to accept the minutes, I'd like to, not I alone, but the council, the Lynch administration, and the entire city of Lowell would like to recognize Private First Class Travis Ginzel, United States Marine Corps. I met Travis in the YMCA 3 years ago, and he watched the council meetings every Tuesday evening, and we got to be good friends. And Travis indicated to me that he was going to join the United States Marines. And Private, would you come to the podium and let this elected body and this manager and his staff give you a round of applause for your... Private Ginzel will be deployed in the Middle East. And Travis, we want to wish you the best of luck, and may God walk with you every step of the way. And if you'd like to make a brief comment, please do so.
I just would like to thank everybody for taking the time to recognize me. I appreciate it. I just want to wish the city luck, and I look forward to coming back to the city. Thank you.
Thank you. If we can have the acceptance of the minutes of the last meeting by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Rita, Councilor Rita Mercia.
Thank you.
I would like to recognize Councilor Rita Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to offer a moment of silence in darkened chambers for Patricia Martin, who died on Sunday, January 13th. She lived in Lowell Sacred Heart Parish for many years and ran the annual cookie drive as a longtime volunteer. Mrs. Martin was employed as an operator for the former New England Telephone Company, as well as a payroll clerk at the former Prince Macaroni for many years, and in the payroll department at UMass Lowell. She also worked at her family store, Nichols Variety, located in the flats section of the city of Lowell for many years, of which I used to be a customer, and I remember not only Mrs. Martin, but her mother as well. She is survived by her 3 sons, former Lowell Mayor and present City Councilor Bill Martin and his wife Martha, Greater Lowell Regional Voc Technical High School Committee member Brian Martin and his wife Mary Gale, who is a Dracut School Committee member, and Kevin Martin and his wife Carol. Also 8 grandchildren. She will be truly missed. She was a delightful woman, and I liked her immensely. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. The chair recognizes Councilor Kevin Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to also offer a moment of silence in darkened chambers for Frank Miller, a loving husband and father, and a great asset to the community, tremendous businessman. Go on and on. He's got a long list of tremendous accomplishments. He was a great asset for Lowell High School, and he will be missed by the high school and the city, and we wish the family the best. Thank you.
Thank you. May they rest in peace. And now we're into the agenda where we can accept the communications from Manager Lynch. Now is the point in time if anyone would like to discuss those communications. Councilor Broderick? Second. Accept the communications and place them on file by Councilor Kazanjian, seconded by Counsel Lindsay. All in favor signify by saying aye. We have,
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, was that just the responses to the council motions?
it's communications.
Could I just talk
Yes.
about two issues? The first was a request that I made to have a point person to serve as a contact person in the for utility, and the city manager gave us a response to that and said that the Division of Neighborhood Services has an updated 2008 utility contract information list. And it's a printed or an email version available to residents who contact the Division of Neighborhood Services with any utility-related concern. That would be 978-446-7243. That's the Division of Neighborhood Services. So thank you, Mr. Manager, for that. And the second issue is, under response to the council motion, I'd like the public to be aware that was in the paper that the Lowell Board of Assessors will be meeting on Thursday, January 17th. They will hold a property tax information session at the Senior Center at 276 Broadway Street, starting at 6:30 p.m. The event is free and open to the public. Representatives from Vision Appraisal Technology, the private company that conducted the recent property reevaluation, will be there. So I just wanted the public to be aware of that. That's Thursday, January 17th at 6:30 at the Senior Center on Broadway Street. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I spoke earlier with the manager, and I met with an elderly woman last evening, and she has a parcel of land next to her home, and that the parcel of land, the value went, the taxes went from $497 to $1,500. So I'm going to urge that elderly woman to file for an abatement.
But if I could add to that as well, just because this meeting that's available to the public is at a senior center, you don't have to be a senior to be there. You could be any age to go if you have a problem. So I wanted to stress that as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Kazanjian?
Do we have that meeting for the hearing for the assessors? Is that going to be set up for these people also? Do we do anything with that?
If I may,
Mr. Manager?
Council, the meeting on Thursday night, and Councilor Mercer, I appreciate you mentioning that. I was going to mention that a little bit later under an announcement, and certainly we encourage people to go to. That was in response to the council motion last week to try to put up some type of public forum to explain the assessment process. The actual hearings that I think you're referring to, Councilor, are the individual abatement hearings.
Correct.
And anyone that files and seeks a hearing will be granted a hearing.
Okay, they'll be notified.
That's right. They'll
Okay.
be. That's right.
Is it gonna
They'll
be-
have till February 1st to file those for those abatements, and then they'll be contacted by the Board of Assessors with a date and a time in which they can come in and discuss their property.
Is this going to be during the day or at nighttime or
They'll
both?
they'll be doing probably day and Saturday and an
Okay, great.
occasional
Okay,
night.
good.
They've
Okay.
done Saturdays in the past.
All right, great. Okay, good. All right.
Any other discussion? Okay, we'll move on with the agenda. The communication from the city manager requesting out-of-state travel. We have 3 requests. The council like to take those 3 at once? So we'll move for approval by Council Armin Mercier, second by Council Rita Mercier. Roll call.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi? Yes. Councilor Martin? Councilor Armin Mercier?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercier?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo? Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
7 yeas, 2 absent.
Reading by first title, authorizing the city manager to apply for, accept, and expand a grant from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection on behalf of the city of Lowell for the use in the City of Lowell recycling program administered through the Department of Public Works. Motion to move the full reading by Council Kazanjian, seconded by Council Lindsay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Second reading by title, authorizing the city manager to apply for, accept, and expand a grant from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection on behalf of the City of Lowell for the use in the City of Lowell recycling program administered through the Department of Public Works. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Council Rita.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager. Mr. Manager, on May 1st, there was a public hearing on an ordinance creating a solid waste inspector. Does this grant have anything to do with that recently created position, or is this an extra person, what is this?
This will just be some technical assistance that will be provided by the Department of Environmental Protection. It's only to come in and work with Gunther and other members of the community to enhance our recycling programs. But as you'll notice, this is only for 80 hours of personnel time for the city. So it's equivalent of 2 weeks that they'll be in the city.
Since we're on this subject, Mr. Manager, could you provide some sort of a informational report as to what is happening since this position was created to justify the need for this person? And was this an aim to save money or encourage people to recycle more? And if so, did this position add to creating more revenue? Or
Sure.
is there anything we could get on this? Because I guess since May 1st to now is like 7.5 months, so I'm wondering if this was a good I want to justify this position through a report, if we could have some information.
Sure, Council, if I may.
Sure.
I'll get you a more detailed report, but if you recall, back when we created this position back in May, it was our intention at that time to hold off on the actual filling of the position until we could see how things shook out with the other staffing within the city, because as you recall, we were looking at some layoffs at that time. Once we made it through that particular period, we held off on the hiring of this, filling of this slot for financial reasons, and we have not yet filled that slot. We're now, so it hasn't been filled. The money is still sitting there. We're looking at, we're evaluating that position now in terms of other needs within the city with our health department, and we may be coming back to the council to make some modifications to that, but we have not filled that position.
So I guess we did save some money.
We did save
I
some
voted
money.
no for this position for that very reason, so I'm glad you never filled it. I just wondered, what did that person do? I heard more about it.
It's, as I think we all know, the issue of recycling is very serious here in the city in terms of, we have a very low participation rate, and we're looking at a number of different options and ideas to boost that rate up. You know, based upon that, we decided to hold off on the actual filling of this position. At that time, it was recommended by a task force that I had put together that we create this position to help with some of the enforcement provisions, but we decided to rethink that a little bit in terms of some other information that became available after that.
Thank you. I agree. I'm glad you rethought it.
Any other discussion? Moving on with the agenda. Mayor Edward Caulfield, members of the City Council regard Disability Commission, reappointment of Edward Bud Caulfield and Tricia Camere. Dear Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, since the terms of both Edward Bud Caulfield and Tricia Camere on the Disability Commission expired October 12, 2007, and both are in holdover positions until the successors are appointed and qualified, it is with pleasure that I am reappointing pursuant to the authority vested in me as City Manager under Chapter 75 of the Acts of 1983, Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, and Code of the City of Lowell, Section 2-123. Could we divide the question, please? Yes.
Mr. Mayor, did we miss a vote on the last one?
Excuse me?
We have to vote on that.
We're going to vote on the,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we did.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo? Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
Could we divide this question, please? So,
Motion is
motion
separate.
to divide the question by Council Rita Mercia, second by Council Arman Mercia. Roll call on the first appointment.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo? Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Counselor Caulfield?
Present.
7 yeas, 1 present, 1
Take a
absent.
vote on the second appointment, please.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo? Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
Moving on with the agenda. Mayor Edward Caulfield, members of the City Council regard Board of Parks reappointment of Bernard R. Judge. Dear Mayor Caulfield, members of the City Council, pursuant to the authority specified under the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 45, Section 2, and the Code of the City of Lowell, Section 14-17, it is with pleasure that I am reappointing Bernard R. Judge at 28 First Street, Lowell, Mass. 01851, as member of the Lowell Board of Parks, effective January 13, 2008. This reappointment shall be for 5 years, expiring January 13, 2013, or such time thereafter as a successor is appointed and qualified. Confirmation by the City Council is required for this appointment and is hereby requested. So moved by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Armin Mercia. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Armin Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo? Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
May I have a call for members of the City Council regarding Library Board of Trustees reappointment of Trustee Rosemary Noon. Dear Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, since the term of Rosemary Noon as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Library has expired, she continues to serve in a holdover status pursuant to the authority and specified under the Code of City of Lowell, Section 17-166. It is with pleasure that I am reappointing Rosemary Noon of 44 Highland Street, Lowell, Mass. 01852 to a new term expiring December 31st, 2010, or until such time thereafter as a successor is appointed and qualified. Confirmation by the City Council is required for this appointment is hereby requested. Move for approval by Councilor Kazanjian, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Armin Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo? Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
Mayor Edward Caulfield, members of the City Council, regard Cemetery Commission reappointment thereto. Dear Mayor Caulfield, members of the City Council, please be advised that I am reappointing Dennis Mercier of 73 Endicott Street, Lowell, Mass. 01854 to the Cemetery Commission for a new 5-year term expiring August 13, 2012. Since confirmation by the City Council is not required for this reappointment, this letter is notification of such an appointment. Received a communication, placed it on file by Councilor Rita Mercia, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Mr. Manager, do you have some announcements to make?
Can we vote on the acceptance of the last communication so I can vote present?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All in favor of accepting the communications signify, why don't we take a roll call?
No.
Signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Present.
Mr. Mayor, just a couple of announcements I asked just for a few minutes to mention tonight. Councilor Rita Mercier already indicated the public meeting that we're having with Vision Appraisal and the assessors on at 6:30 on Thursday night, the 17th, to talk about the assessment process and hopefully answer some questions that people may have regarding the revaluation that took place this year. Two other just announcements. As you know, we had a snowstorm yesterday that had certainly had the appearance of being quite severe, and because of that, we did close City Hall. That did result in the zoning board, some of the zoning board hearings last night being, some questions being raised as to whether, in fact, the meeting was going to take place. The zoning board, in fact, did meet. They did convene, and they passed all of the hearings that were scheduled for last night. They continued all of them until their next meeting, which will take place on the 28th. So if anyone's out there watching tonight that was wondering what happened last night and wondering when those hearings will take place, they will take place at their regular meeting on the 28th. Also, as a result of the snowstorm that we had yesterday, BFI began their pickups yesterday, but then, or Allied Waste, they determined that the snow conditions were more than they could handle, so they stopped the pickup about midway through the day. They went on the holiday schedule, so people who weren't picked up yesterday should have been picked up today, and people that should have been picked up today will be picked up tomorrow and so forth through till Saturday, but everyone's trash will be picked up during the week. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Any more discussion? Okay. Before we move to the petitions, everyone has received their subcommittee assignments, and there was one change that it's the Comcast cable TV issues. Council Mike Lindsay was appointed as the chairman, but I made a move to make Council Rita Mercia the chairman. But the law department said there's a little wrinkle to that, so they're going to do some research on it, and they'll come back with the report. Whatever the report indicates, we'll abide by it. So, Council Martin?
Well, there also was a council vote last month.
Excuse me?
There was a council vote last month appointing me as the member
Right.
from
But
the
I didn't-
council, so.
I didn't realize, and no one else realized, that that vote was to select the chairman of that committee with that vote. So,
All right. So the law department's gonna rule on that?
excuse me?
The law department's gonna rule on that?
They're going to do some research on it and come back with a ruling. So
All right.
that's why I brought that up. Madam Solicitor, if you'd like to weigh in on that.
In looking at it, as you indicated, the 5 members, I believe, or the 5 appointees that the council had approved, one member was from the council. The way the bylaws are set up under the board membership, whoever the chairperson is of the council subcommittee would then have an automatic spot on the telecommunications board. In this case, of the 5 appointees that the council approved, there's only one that is a member of the council, and they're therefore qualified to serve on the subcommittee, and that would be Councilor Martin, and that was the problem.
All right. Is there anything that precludes 2 members of the council from serving on the, on the board?
No, there's no, the appointments are purely up to the discretion of the council. So we had indicated to the mayor we were going to look at it, also to double check in terms of, it's a 20% appointment. 20% of the board is a council appointment. And so we're just going to run the numbers and see where you are in that 20%.
Okay.
Are you happy with that response, Councilor?
Well, I'll wait to see what the response says. But if I could, I would like to point out, I thought there were some inaccuracies in the paper over the weekend indicating that I made appointments on the way out the door. They're not, I didn't make any appointments. These are not they weren't my appointments to make. They're council appointments. I did file a motion, but they were voted on by this council. So the suggestion that I was doing this in the middle of the night on my way out the door, concluding my service as mayor, is, I think, unfair and untrue. The motion was made at a public meeting, discussed at this council. I explained my rationale for what I was doing, and it was voted on by the council. So I do plan to respond in writing to the newspaper, but I thought that was, a pretty blatant mischaracterization of what happened at the last council meeting in December.
The only issue before me and this council is who would be the chairman of this subcommittee. And I always thought that the mayor appointed the chairman, and the law department indicated that there might be a wrinkle to that, and that we're going to wait for that report.
I certainly have no issue with who the chairman is, Mr. Mayor. I know that's
You don't?
your prerogative to do.
Okay, if no one has a problem with that, then Councilor Rita Mercy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The comments in the paper did not come from me. In fact, I never even told anybody anything about this, so I was kind of wondering how this came about. But be that as it may, I just had concern about, I know that the city manager chose 5 people, and in looking at the people that were already on that list, he more or less chose the same people that were on the list, except that a few of those people came under his choice. So now the city council has 5 members, and I think I asked the question to you, Mr. Mayor, at the time, what former mayor, who makes the decision here? Is it this council, or is it strictly your decision? I don't remember what you said, but I don't know how those 5 names got an input from the council, except that you presented 5 names and we supported that. So I don't know, did any of these previous councilors have input to those 5 names? Because I was not aware that you had a choice we voted either up or down your 5 choices. I don't know. So how did we get to that point?
Well, I did suggest the names, and I did it, I thought, in a similar way to the manager made his appointments, and I went to institutions that had historically been represented on the LTC board and suggested names of people who had either contacted me or I had contacted who were willing to serve. So that's how it came to be. I mean, this is, as I said in December, a little bit of an unusual thing. As far as I'm aware, the council has no other appointments other than these. So there is no precedent for it. And in fact, in my whole time here, I don't ever remember this council making appointments to the LTC board. The way the LTC board has been constituted, quite frankly, is a mess. And so I
It
thought
is.
this was one way, at least for us, to try and straighten out our end of it.
And the reason that, Mr. Mayor, that I didn't question or disapprove of that list of 5 people was because I thought all 5 people were well qualified, and I was thankful that 5 people wanted to be involved in the community, because you don't get paid for it. It's a volunteer, it's an act of concern that people are here. So I supported that, with the understanding that I had just got reappointed, not as a member of the manager's choice nor your choice, but as the board as a whole, I was reappointed. So when I requested that I know if I'm going to this meeting or not, am I still on the board? And I was told I wasn't. So I found that, not anything towards you, but did your choice of 5 supersede and boot me off? Be that as it may, I mean, I don't know.
What we're trying to do, Counselor, is rectify that tonight. Now, Counselor Martin is on the LTC board, and by you being chairman of this subcommittee, Madam Solicitor, does that entitle Counselor Rita Mercier to be on that board?
Again, the unfortunate problem is that under the makeup of the LTC board, the way it's structured is that of the appointments that the council makes, one of those appointments will serve as the chairman of the council subcommittee. So of the appointments that the council made, again, the only member of the council that was part of the council's appointments was the former mayor, Bill Martin.
It's okay with me. I really don't mind either way. I just think that they have a 28-member board, which is quite a large body. I think it's kind of bizarre anyways, but...
Counselor Martin?
If I could, I mean, I don't know why I thought this, but my understanding was that Councilor Mercier was, because there are at-large members of this board elected by the membership, and I, for some reason, understood that was your status.
I thought.
I know Jackie Doherty on the school committee, even though the school committee has 2 appointments, she was not one of those appointments. She was an at-large member elected by the membership. So, in fact, that night, you said to me, you know, does this mean I'm off the board? And I told you I wasn't sure. I thought that you were still on there by virtue of the membership. So, again, it goes to show, I think, the history of, you know, poor record keeping and lack of succession by the LTC board, which is something that I was trying to, at least from the council standpoint, solve and get us on record as to who our members were, and when those members, you know, resign or are no longer interested, that those appointments then get made again by this council, not, you know, by some other nonprofit
I'm
group in the
not faulting
committee.
you at all, Bill.
So-
I'm not.
So, there it stands. I just, I took great exception to the story in the paper, and I'll wait for the solicitor's opinion on this, and we'll
I
move
recognize
forward.
Counselor Broderick and Counselor Elliott, but if we could get a report from the law department, whatever the
Yes.
solicitor comes back with, we'll abide by. And like Counselor Rita Mercier said, it's not that big an issue. Counselor Broderick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to congratulate you on your appointments. You did it timely, and from a personal standpoint, I think I'm on pretty much everything I was last term, so I want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Counselor Elliott?
I just wanted to go back to the LTC. What is the wrinkle? That there are now too many appointments from the city side, or not enough?
The wrinkle is that the mayor was going to appoint, as he indicated, Councilor Mercier as the chairman of the subcommittee. In order, however, to be the chairman of the subcommittee, one would have to be part of the original appointments of the council to the LTC board. And in this particular case, the only member of the council who was originally part of, or who's part of the council's appointments, was Councilor Martin.
Okay,
So
because
the only
before,
one-
Councilor Caulfield was a chair, and he was a member, and Councilor Mercier
Right.
was also a member,
That's right.
right? So,
And I was the
What has-
chairman of that subcommittee.
right, so what has changed? And we just brought
But-
some additional appointments in, right?
She was a member at large.
Right.
Not by this council.
So,
The
and
council,
presumably, she's still a member at large, or she's a chair now, so then Council Martin's a member at large. Is it 6 of one, half dozen of the other?
well, again, the way it reads is that the council makes appointments. Of the appointments that the council makes, somebody of that group of appointments will serve as the chairperson. In this case, of the appointments that the council made, there's only one that would be eligible to serve as chairman currently. And what we were going to look at was whether the council was at its threshold of the 20%. If there were additional appointments the council could make, then the council could make those additional appointments, including, if it was the desire of the council to appoint Councilor Mercier. Once appointed, she could then serve as chair, and then be on the LTC board that way.
I would suggest, Mr. Mayor, that the city solicitor unwrinkle the wrinkle.
Yes, right, I agree. Councilor Kazanjian?
Well, I was just
we'll
asking,
just
can
move
we-
on with this issue.
Can we vote to appoint Rita Mercier as a member of the LTC board? Is that
Usually,
possible?
it's under the jurisdiction of the mayor to appoint subcommittees and chairman of those subcommittees. In this particular issue, there seems to be a wrinkle, and let's wait for the solicitor to come back with a report, and whatever that report states, we'll live with it. But as Councilor Elliott pointed out, Councilor Rita Mercier was on the board, I don't know for how long, and I was chairman of the subcommittee for a long time as well. But it's something that we have to iron out and live with.
Are we limited to how many people we can have on that board, or is that
Yeah.
this? Okay, all right.
But I trust in the solicitor to come back with a report that we can all live with, okay? I try to appease and please everyone's requests with those subcommittee requests, and I hope it's not too much for you. Some people have quite a bit, and some people have a lot as well, but yes, Councilor Martin.
I agree with Councilor Broderick. I had given a list of, preferences. I didn't get them all, but I got most of them, and I think you did a good job trying to accommodate people's interests and
Thank you.
preferences. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I want harmony.
I would like to clarify one item, however, on these appointments. It was brought to my attention by someone who was concerned that I wasn't reappointed to the Economic Development Subcommittee, and I made it abundantly clear that in order to facilitate the mayor's decision, if he thought he needed a seat, I'd be more than willing to relinquish mine, and at the same time, we'll be attending those meetings, we'll participate. So I was only too happy to do that, and there's nothing Machiavellian behind it. I had offered to relinquish that chair based on the request that you had from a number of people who wanted to serve in that subcommittee. So I want to make it abundantly clear that it was something that you and I discussed amicably, and I have no problems with the results of that decision on your part.
And it was a fine gesture on your part. I thank you, Councilor.
I'll stay home at night at 5 o'clock.
Moving on with the agenda. Under petitions, Attorney George Elides for HCL Acquisition LLC requests to designate portion of Jam Plan as Smart Growth Zoning District. I'm going to refer this petition to the manager, the Department of Planning and Development, and the Law Department. Move for approval by Councilor Broderick, second by Councilor Elliott. All in favor signify by saying aye. The petition is moved forward. Silvio Lamache, petition 559 Broadway Street, request a handicap sign, referred to the traffic engineer by Councilor Rita Mercier, seconded by Councilor Armin Mercier. Manuel Silva, 20 Irving Street, request a handicap sign, referred to the traffic engineer by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Kazanjian. All in favor signify by saying aye. Raymond Wicker, 14 Watson Street, requests creation parking condos, referred to the DPD by Councilor Lindsay, seconded by Councilor Martin. All in favor of that request signify by saying aye. There were three property claims, referred to the Law Department by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Elliott. All in favor signify by saying aye. The pole location, National Grid requests pole location on Moody Street, referred to a hearing January 29th. All in favor of that January 29th hearing signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing is January 29th. Motions. Councilor Kazanjian, requests manager have Law Department investigate residency requirements for new hires. Seconded by Councilor Rita Mercier on the motion.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, the motion is that new employees that want to get a job in the city of Lowell will have to basically live in the city. And, you know, anybody that's already working in the system will be grandfathered. And talking to the clerk's office, that was in effect back in 1988 and taken away back in 1994. So the city did have it at one time. So, and I know Boston, the city of Boston has something pretty much on the same idea. We have a ton of employees that do work out of town. It was just something in the paper the other day that 96 employees that make over $100,000, 56 of them live out of town. And you know, I just think it's going to help out the economics in the city and, you know, give life to downtown, whether it's the restaurants and stores and whatnot. It's just going to add a big, plus we get the big tax base in the city. We have, you know, a lot of important people making big decisions in the city, and you know, after 5 o'clock they go home. And I'm not saying they're not doing a good job; they are, but I think they have a better vested interest in the city if they, you know, after 5 o'clock they're going to the neighborhoods and living within the city and see what's happening in the day-to-day operations in the city. You know, after 5 o'clock. So that's the motion, and I'd like to refer it to the law department, and if the law department's on board, I'd like to refer it to a personal subcommittee and go further and see if we can make it happen.
Okay. Council Broderick, on the motion?
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Just a point of, maybe a couple points of clarification. It's, Councilor Ksenia, the motion is for new hires to live in the city?
It'll be new hires. You know, anybody that's been in the system will be grandfathered, and give them some type of a time period to move into the city, whether it's 6 months or a year. You know, I'm not saying move in a week. Do you have to be here? You know, give them some type of time, and if they, you know, if it's a year and they feel comfortable in the city over here and they want to stay here and they move in, then they move in the city. But if, you give them a little bit of leeway.
Okay. My follow-up question, I guess, would be, because the people that are making over 100,000, I think, are on the top tier, have been, you know, in the police, fire, and in different departments for many years, and now live outside the city. Is this going to be a permanent requirement that they maintain residency in the city? Because I think that may be
Well,
one
let's
of the
say
bigger issues.
if you hire somebody new in the city, yes, yeah. I mean, if it's somebody that's already established in the system and working in the system, they're going to be grandfathered. But let's say if you get a new police officer, yeah, he's going to be able to, he'll have to stay have to live in the city.
Okay. And this is, the motion is to get a
Get a referral from the law department, see what they,
opinion?
see if it's legal, number one, and then refer it to a subcommittee and take it from there.
Council Rita Mercer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to know, some time ago I made that similar motion, but I did it only with department heads because I figured the department heads in the city make them more money than their subordinates in that department. And I did get a response back many years ago that they just couldn't do it. Be that as it may, I know that they're doing it in Boston. So with that, complementing that motion, because I do believe in that motion, is there a way we can find out how they implement that in Boston? It's not like we're making a motion that's unconstitutional, unheard of, da-da-da-da. If they can do it in Boston, I don't know why we can't implement that in the city. So I'd like to know from some way, how do they do that in Boston? What is the criteria and how is it going? How long have they had it? So I'd like to get a little bit of that information if we could.
Council Lindsay?
I think it's a good motion. I think that just reading up on some things, there's a lot of modifications to the motion that different towns and different municipalities make. But I know George Washington in 1796 said that people should live in the city that they're representing and that they're working in, and it worked pretty good back then. Since then it's changed, and then it's changed back again, and it's been very cyclical. But I know there's different things, for instance, points on the civil service exam that are allotted to a person who may live in the city that they're applying for that position. They may get several points towards that. And I think in the discussion there's a lot of good things that some modification of the motion would come out and that we could possibly implement. But I think it's a good motion and certainly worth looking into. I think once the jam plan gets underway, people are going to want to live in the city anyway, so that'll resolve that problem.
And I think the gist of Councilor Kazanji's motion is people who are employed here now are be grandfathered in.
That's
It's
correct.
just-
Right,
It's just
correct.
new hires.
New hires.
And it's, I agree, it's
Well,
worth looking at.
We're spending millions of dollars on payroll a year.
Right.
And that money's just going somewhere else. It's not coming to the city.
Councilor Martin.
Thanks. I support the motion. Although I question really why it's necessary to limit to new hires, and if there's no objection, I'd like the solicitor to weigh in on, any obstructions from making it mandatory for everybody. I mean, we talked about, even new hires would have a period of time to transition and maybe move into the city. I'm sure Boston has something similar, and I don't know why, if we feel this strongly about it, why we wouldn't require it for everybody. I'm sure there's, things that are in the way, collective bargaining agreements and things, but if there are impediments to making it apply to everybody, I'd like to hear a report as to why that is as well, and maybe the difference between new hires and just making it, for everybody as of a certain date, this is going to be the requirement.
We'll be looking forward to that report from the Law Department. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Motion by Councilor Kazanjian. City Council requests the city manager to have the Arena Stadium Commission provide profit and loss statements and request the manager provide a 2-year plan for the arena. Seconded by Councilor Broderick.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, to the manager. Basically, you just want a financial report, profit and loss statement of the arena, and what is your 2-year plan? I've got some ideas, selling the name. We have Motorola that moved into the city, and maybe confronting them, and Motorola at the Songus Arena, and I know they pay some big money for something like that. It's just a bunch of things where is SMG doing what they're supposed to do, with concerts, and just looking at their chart, it seems like things have dropped off every year, and just seems, I personally think that we can have a lot more there than what's happening. I know that they're saying that it's hockey, but I think there's enough time period that they can have concerts and family shows over there, and make the arena what it's supposed to be, and make it so it's generating some income and money where the city's not spending well over $1 million each year.
Councilor Broderick? On the
Thank you,
motion?
Mr. Mayor. I think it's a good motion. I'm going to support it. Mr. Mayor, through you, Mr. Mayor, to the manager, did you create a task force? Are you close? I know things have changed with extensions with the Devils and so on. Is your office or administration or task force close to coming up, hopefully with some type of plan?
Well, we did provide the council with a report on a lot of the statistical information regarding the use of the arena and some of the issues they're facing the arena. In terms of coming up with a plan of how we turn that around, we're still working on a number of different ideas. We are looking at some different options. Certainly the naming rights is something we've talked about before with the Arena Commission. What other uses could take place there. We did have some meetings with SMG as well as with Live Nation, the largest promoting company, certainly in the country, I think, and more likely the world, to talk about the possibilities for additional shows there. There are some issues regarding, generally those shows try to take place on weekend nights, and that's also the same time period that the hockey games are taking place, but either at the university or with the Devils, which enters into some of our problems there. And of course, you're only going to have inside shows at the arena probably in the months of late September through early May, which coincidentally too is the same time that the hockey team is playing. No one uses the arenas on the summer evenings. So we've been looking at a number of different options, a number of different ideas of how we can turn things around over the next 2 years and then beyond that. I think we have some tremendous potential probably beyond that based upon what we're hearing taking place in the market, as well as that's when many of our contracts will expire, and we can give us a whole new sense of freedom of how we can handle that. But certainly we can prepare a report with a number of those ideas and get that to the council in a short period of time.
Councilor Lindsay?
I think the key there is short period of time. The arena is, without looking at a profit and loss, but I know we're talking about somewhere in the vicinity of $1 million, which is an awful lot of money. And we pick up, these tow contracts and these other things, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, it takes 10 of those areas that we're making money in to offset the deficit that the arena is running. So, I know it's a 2-year plan, and I think time is of the essence, because that, we're not going in the right direction over there, and we need to take action, and I think we need to take action sooner than later.
Manager Lynch?
Councilor, I couldn't agree more. And as you know, these problems have plagued the arena for a number of years. In fact, they got worse a couple years ago. With all due respect to the Devils, the agreement that the city entered into a couple of years ago was not actually reduced the amount of money coming into the city in a number of different areas with that contract, and that has had a serious impact on our profit and loss coming out of the arena. Unfortunately, that's the situation that all of us have inherited now that we have to deal with. So, but these deficits have been going on for quite some time, and unfortunately, there was I don't see where there was much in the way of action that was taken during those periods of time to try to turn that around. But certainly, we are developing some ideas and looking at some ideas of what we can do about that now. But I couldn't agree with you more. Time is of the essence here.
This is a good motion, and it's an issue that we must address. And a business just can't stand back and lose $1 million a year. They would address it immediately, and we have to run the city as a business. Councilor Elliott, then Councilor Mercia.
I'm going to support the motion because I think we're all looking for ways to address the bleeding that's taken place, that continues to take place at the arena. We did get a report back last week that I'd thrown out the idea of arena football. The arena doesn't meet those requirements. But we can look at the Schedule A, and it runs a deficit. I think what we need to see, and I don't believe they'll give it to us, but we need to see the operating or the income statement from the Devils. And quite frankly, I think we're entitled to it because the lease that we got last week is a revenue sharing. There's a revenue sharing provision based upon ticket sales. Now, I would like to see how many ticket sales, because I actually took the opportunity, myself and my colleagues, to go to a Devils game to see what the crowd was like. It was on a weekend, and I know the Devils are trying. They're trying to, new ideas to bring people in, to put them in the seats. But regrettably, I don't think that's happening. And if that doesn't happen, then they're not making money. We're losing money on the parking. So I would like to see what their revenue, because quite frankly, while they did come in and give us an additional, I think it was $100,000 last year, there's still a huge deficit over there, and I don't see us or the arena generating the revenue that we need to make up that gap, and it's a big gap. It's a hit against our free cash every year, and something has to be done. And regrettably, I don't think the Devils are going to draw the crowd that it takes in order for us to, to make that arena work. So something has to be done, and something has to be done soon. So, if we can get those operating statements, because the Devils get all the advertising, all the concessions, and that's where the money is. So their expense really is minimal, and the city and the taxpayers are picking up the balance, and it really has gone on long enough. So I look forward to the report, and I'm going to support the motion. But quite frankly, unless the Devils start turning a profit, that I don't think much is going to change. We can sort of paddle upstream and look for more concerts and look for more shows and more venues, which should be there anyway. But that's the main tenet of the building with UMass, and we see that we see bodies are increasing with the UMass at the Riverhawks game. So there's progress on that front. But unfortunately, sometimes you just can't sell snow to Eskimos, and Lowell just doesn't seem to be embracing, 2 hockey teams. So I'll look forward to the report, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Armin Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a great motion. The part of the motion that I'm interested in the most is a 2-year plan that we're talking about. It's my understanding that the Devils have 2 more years to play here. And so a 2-year plan becomes very, very important, because at the end of that 2 years, if the Devils are an impediment for a revenue stream that's required not to have a deficit, then we're going to have to re-look at that. So I like the idea of the motion that suggests that the manager with his task force and whoever come up with a 2-year plan of how best to handle this very serious problem. So I think it's a good motion, but I'm really interested in the 2-year plan that we put together. SMG still has a lot of dates that they can bring something there. I know that they're handicapped by the amount of dates that the Devils have and the university has. But when you add those dates together, there's still plenty of dates available for bona fide venues that would enhance the revenue stream. So the 2-year plan, I think, becomes the key to making this arena work if it's put together and can be implemented. So I'm looking forward to the results of the motion. And then when it comes back to us, we probably can refer it to maybe the Finance Subcommittee or the Arena Committee, Commission, if there is such a thing, to be put together. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I understand that the Kenny Rogers concert was absolutely fantastic. It was a sellout. And that's what can put that
And wide
arena
world
over
of
top. And
wrestling.
UMass Lowell hockey ranks 13th in the country. Any more discussion on this? Yeah, Councilor Kazanjian, I'll get Councilor Elliott.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ways, I think we can make it work. We have 3 surrounding towns that pay for ice time at the Janus Rink. Why can't we get these towns to use the Songus Arena? They would love to use the arena. All you have to do is turn the lights on. The place is pretty much there. The ice is already made. You put a Zamboni individual out there to take care of the ice, and we're getting money for the arena where it's sitting idle. And it's usually after school where the hockey players are already practicing in the morning, and the place is empty. So it makes sense to get some type of revenue out of it and just let it sit idle.
Right.
They can do car shows, motorcycle shows over there. Like Armin Mercy said, the big time wrestling, ultimate fighting. There's so much that you can make happen over there, and I don't think they're basically hustling to do that. And I think we have to get them to hustle to get these shows in there and make it happen. Because I think the place is a beautiful place, and people want to go there. It just has to be advertised and let it know that something's going to be happening at the Songus Arena.
Councilor Elliott, and
I was just going to pick up on something Councilor Armin Mercia did mention is maybe, and it can come to the Finance Subcommittee, but it seems like it's a specific issue that would really require maybe an ad hoc subcommittee to meet on a regular basis to focus on or meet with the Arena Commission to find out exactly what's going on and what options are available and what we can do to to focus on turning a profit or making the arena produce some additional revenue. So I'd like to maybe make that in the form of a substitute, not a substitute, maybe an amendment to if there's no objection to the maker motion, to put together an ad hoc subcommittee to deal specifically with the arena issues. Because the arena, it's not just the Devils, it's UMass Lowell and other entities as well that clearly have a stake in this. So, and I'm not trying to take away the power of the Arena Commission. It just seems like this council has been focusing on it, and we're the one that we do the appropriation. So it might make some sense for us to do that.
Councilor Elliott presented a substitute motion?
I think it was an amendment to the original
Amendment?
motion.
And we're going to set up a new subcommittee for this arena. Is that correct?
Specifically to focus just on.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. This way we can. I think it's a great idea. This way we can stay on top of it and make sure that they're doing the job they're supposed to be doing.
So we have an amendment to the original motion. Do we have a second? Seconded by Councilor Rita Mercia. All in favor of the amendment to Councilor Kazanjian's motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The amendment and the motion carries. Motion by Councilor Rita Mercier. City Council requests the city manager to report on the condition, safety, costs, etc. of the lights at Colley Stadium, seconded by Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The condition of the lights at Colley Stadium have come to my attention recently. I'm understanding that the lights are so very old and unsafe that if someone went up there to check it out, which they have, you would find that they'd probably be condemned. If that is true, then I fear that the night games may be eliminated. And so before that happens, we should examine the situation, the cost, the safety, and our plans to upgrade or make safe or fix the current condition, and see if we might find the necessary cost to complete the project. And in fact, we could, if perhaps we could apply the much-needed improvements to the maintenance of effort, since the school games are played there. So if we could look at that. Besides referring this motion to the city manager, I'd like to refer it to this motion to the Parks and Recreation Subcommittee as well when we get that report. I think that you'll find that it'll be quite costly to upgrade that, but be that as it may, we still can't just sit and see the unsafe conditions there, so.
Manager Lynch?
Counselor, we'll get you a written report on that. I have just recently heard the same information that you have. Apparently, it's just been discovered that there may be some issues there. The cost is that I heard was somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000, and it had been in the capital plan that the DPW had put together for that facility. It had been planned to do in fiscal year 2011, but we'll review that and determine if it should be done sooner. And then, of course, the issue is the funding for that type of effort. There may be some grant money available through the state, through the Urban Self-Help Program,
Self-help,
or some
yes.
other mechanism to do that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manager.
Councilor Cassandra?
Well, the manager just answered my question. I was wondering if there's any grant money out there that we could possibly get to take care of this.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Let it be known, the motion carries. Final motion of the evening by Councilor Rita Mercier. City Council requests the city manager to have the proper department install and the law department draw the proper vote to place no right turn signs from Chestnut Street onto Fayette Street for the Lowell Housing Authority parking lot, seconded by Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I received a letter from a concerned resident of a housing complex in that vicinity who noticed a few people tend to come down Chestnut Street and proceed to take a right turn onto Fayette Street only to access the parking lot. Having seen this on the last few occasions, this last person that did that got stopped and ticketed to the tune of $150. If there were a sign there at the corner stating no right turn, this would be helpful to some of the seniors that live there. And I took a ride by and looked, and there is an actual stop sign on the poles that we have, not a utility pole, but a regular stop sign pole. If we could place a sign under it that says no right turn, I would like to see that happen, and to submit the note from my constituent as part of the record. And talking about signs and segue in there, I'd like to suspend the rules and add another thought to another motion that was brought to my attention this morning that I think is very, very timely, and I need to do it as soon as possible. So regarding signs.
Why don't we vote on your motion,
Okay,
then?
thank you.
Okay. All in favor of the motion presented by Councilor Rita Mercier pertaining to the sign on Fayette Street, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now suspension.
I would like to also suspend the rules and add an accompanying motion that requests adding 5 no parking signs during the winter along the right side of the driveway leading into Shed Park. Do you know where the pavilion is? You know how you go off the street and you can go further down to the water park? There's a little parking area there. Well, people tend to want to not think about what's going on, and they pull right into the driveway and they park along the right side there. Now, what we've been doing was every year at the request of Sean McClarity's grandmother, the little boy that was injured in the sledding accident, I receive a phone call reminding us to ask Tom Belgard or Steve Patel to put hay around the tree, and they always do that. And every year, we try to make that area safe. But people tend to park along there, and the children are sledding down the Shed Park Hill right into the vehicles. So the vehicles should not be lined up along there. People don't want to walk any further, but they don't think of the safety, and we have to, I just got that addressed to me this morning, and I think it's very timely that if we put signs there, no parking, they shouldn't park there. They automatically shouldn't anyways, because the children are coming down. We're being safe to make barriers and cushions around trees, and the kids are hitting the cars, so, we should just put the signs there.
Counselor, can we take a vote on the suspension?
Oh,
A motion by Counselor Rita Marisha for suspension of the rules, seconded by Counselor Broderick. All in favor of the suspension? The suspension is in order. You presented your motion.
Okay, thank
All
you.
in favor of the motion? By Counselor Kazanjian, second by Counselor Kazanjian. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay?
Right.
Are we gonna put that stuff around the parking signs too? The hay around the parking signs, so that
Yeah.
when you hit the parking signs,
You're a wise guy.
I just want to, yes,
I was going to make a suggestion, maybe we can put one sign that says no parking along the side or something,
Yes,
because
that's right.
stop
I don't
putting them out
care, as
there,
long as we
maybe
alert
stakes.
people that they're not gonna park there, that'd be good.
Isn't there a parking lot where we can park?
There is, they don't go there.
They don't use it?
They don't wanna walk that extra foot. They leave their cars there so the children can get hurt. I don't figure it out.
well, those signs will stop them.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you for a wonderful meeting. I just have two issues, Counselor. The tax issues is Thursday evening at the Senior Center, Mr. Manager.
Yes,
I know there's a gentleman that wants to attend that. What time is that?
that's at 6:30.
6:30 at the, Counselor Elliott?
No, after you.
Oh, at the Senior Center at 6:30 Thursday evening to discuss taxes, abatements, et cetera. And I received a call today. People were concerned, I received a call last night. People were concerned about their trash pickup and so forth. And the trash pickup is on a holiday schedule. So if your trash is coming, if BFI is coming tomorrow, put it out Thursday. So I just want to let the general public know that. And Councilor Elliott?
That was one of my issues, Mr. Mayor, on the trash. And secondly, I want to get a report from the manager on our snow budget. While it might not be a good report, and I'm curious where we are this early in the year. And also, I understand, is there a shortage of salt, sand statewide that's affecting the city? And can you just give us an explanation? I know I've gotten asked or approached by a fair number of people asking in the past why or what the status is.
There is a shortage of, not so much sure it's a shortage, so much as difficulty in getting salt out. A number of communities are having problems, and I know in talking to Mr. McCarthy here that we've been having some problems as well. So that's something we are trying to remedy with our vendor, and trying to see what we can do in conjunction with other communities too. We did try to go to an alternate vendor, and we were totally unsuccessful in that effort. But we'll get you some backup information on that as well.
I mean, we do have salt and sand. It's just not in the quantity that we've had it in the past.
As of yesterday, I think we had a salt. We probably had enough salt for one more storm. So there's supposed to be a storm coming on Friday, and I hear that there may be a storm coming at the beginning of next week as well. So, it's a constant struggle for us to continue to go down and try to get more salt and bring it up, and it's never enough to have a total stockpile. We haven't been able to fill the shed at all this year.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Anything else to
Mayor.
discuss? Yes, Councilor Martin.
Not to belabor the point on the trash, but today was my trash day. So the trash was not picked up. So we'll go on the holiday, so it'll be picked up tomorrow. But the recycling was picked up today. So I know it's confusing for people, but I think, to be safe, they should put out their recycling on the regular day, the trash on the following day.
I'm glad you brought that up, Councilor. If people's recyclables weren't picked up, call the mayor's office, call the manager's office, and we'll make sure that is taken care of. Any other discussions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn by Councilor Ahmed Mercia, seconded by Councilor Kazanjian. Thank you very much.